This is the Titan cockpit from GT Omega, and I've got their XL RS seat attached along with the Logitech G Pro wheel and pedals. Now this cockpit will set you back around £300 without a seat. This seat is another £170 on top, and there's various seats available that range from about £160 to nearly £190. So this all in was around £470, but there's usually codes you can find around to get 5% off easy. Check out bigger YouTubers, you'll get GT Omega codes. But yeah, without a seat, about £300, which puts you roughly in the price range of the SimHound aluminium profile cockpit. So then you've got to consider which one you'd get out of the two if you're looking for a budget. It's not really budget, it's still expensive, but you know, a lower budget cockpit capable of supporting direct drive. Now, the benefit of the SimHound aluminium profile one is, of course, customization. You can fit bits and bobs here and there, whatever. And could be more rigid. I imagine slightly more rigid. We'll talk about rigidity in a bit, because it's not a problem with this cockpit, I can tell you. But they're not particularly good looking. You know, if you've got to have it in your living room, and I've got this in my living room because it's my second rig for the PS5, currently on the telly, but it will just be moved out the way for PSVR 2, hopefully, as from tomorrow. This is arguably a nicer looking cockpit. It's very sleek looking and very easy to just cable manage, and yeah, very tidy. Whereas yeah, the profile one is a bit more industrial, larger generally. Well, the footprint's not too much different, but the way this is, it just feels overall smaller. So yeah, that's something to consider. But today, obviously, I'm just talking really about this cockpit. This is what I've got. This is what I chose, and I'm very happy with it. In a moment, I'll take the camera down and we'll close up, have a look at a few bits and bobs. But as you can see, as I'm driving around, I've got the G Pro wheel here on I think 6.5 strength, which is pretty nice, and to me it feels rock solid. If I really give it a bit of heave-ho, you can make it slightly wobble up and down, but forget that. That's not happening when you're driving. It feels rigid. There's certainly no left and right, or back and forward. Where would back and forward come from? But yeah, it is a solid cockpit. And likewise with the foot pedals. So I've got the brake pedals set up quite stiff. I can't feel any flex. No, really, there isn't really any flex in the pedals. Where there is flex, if anything, is in the seat. Okay, so I'll just talk about that now. This seat, as I say, was about 170 quid, and it's probably the weakest point of this cockpit, right? Because, alright, for 170 quid it's not bad, but and you can adjust it up and down. The back goes up and down, comes with the seat rails to slide it back and forward, so that's all great. But it's not, it's rigid. But when I push brake, if you brake hard, I can feel that my left shoulder is moving backwards, because the system that it's on, where you can ratchet the back up and down, is fixed this side. When you build it, this side is just, the arm is just loose. This one is the stiff one that locks in place. So because of that, this one is solid, but this one you can push back a bit. So if you brake hard, I can feel my body can twist a little bit, which bugs me a little bit. It's not terrible, and I'm sure, especially in VR, you know, just forget about it. But would I, in hindsight, would I've got this seat? Probably not. As well as this is the biggest seat for big people, and it's don't get me wrong, it is a comfortable seat. But even as big as I am, this is too big. I think too big makes sense. It doesn't feel like a racing seat in any way. There's nothing really to feel at the sides. It doesn't feel bucket in any way. So it's almost too open, but it is comfortable. So they're just things to bear in mind. The reason I just got it really is just I wanted a turnkey solution. Just bought the whole package from, you know, GTA Omega, and you get the 5% off or whatever discount code you can find. So right, I thought I'll get the one sort of real negative out the way. Although it's not a terrible seat, it is comfortable. You know, it's not super flimsy. It's just, that's really the only thing. That, consider the size. As I say, there's different sizes. This is the big fat boy one. I wish I'd got the next one down maybe, or spent a little bit more and got like an actual racing bucket seat like I've got in the other room. But I didn't want to go too crazy on money. This is my second rig, you know, so even what I've spent is ridiculous. It's, you know. Okay, so the other thing is it comes with a shifter mount, but there is no shifter yet that works with the G Pro. So I'm just balancing a keyboard on it because I can also run my PC through to this screen and play a bit of Forza or whatever on here. I've also got this, the USB cable out of this is going into a switch box, which I've got just behind the telly, and I can just switch it to PC or PlayStation, which is quite cool. So with it here, I can be playing PlayStation on the TV or PC on the TV, just to change the switch, which is great. And then if I've got the PC on there, I've got my keyboard just balanced on there. So to build the cockpit takes roughly around an hour or so. You'll get it done within an hour if you just focus on it and nothing else. The instructions weren't great, but it's pretty straightforward, and I'll just point a few things out to maybe make it easier. The cat doesn't come from GTA Omega, unfortunately. It's not an optional extra. But moving on to the steering wheel mount is surprisingly solid for how it is, because you've got 4 bolts here that you can just loosen, and you've got various range of movement for the steering wheel. It's pretty decent. Can't go up and down much, but a little bit, and backwards and forwards. And yeah, just tightening these pretty darn tight, and it doesn't move. It doesn't move. You'd think it would, but yeah, it's a pretty good solution. This came pre-built, this whole thing with the 4 bolts, and you just had to sort of mount it in place. You'll see. That's not a problem. I will mention mounting the Logitech G Pro. Now you can put these 2 bolts, they're the usual Logitech pattern, but the bolt at the front isn't in the right place. The hole's too far forward compared to on here, so you've either got to drill it out a little bit, which wouldn't be really a problem, or use this, which is really sturdy, honestly, but of course you could hit your knee on it. I haven't really, but well, I may have once, but yeah, ideally you could just drill that one hole. Well, I would hope GTA Omega, just now that this is, you know, I'd suppose getting more common, that they would adjust that and have the hole to accommodate this. But anyway, move around, you'll see my cable situation. The rig does come with these cable ties, and obviously you can chop these off to make it more tidy, or ideally get some Velcro ties. I've just left it as is at the moment, so I can undo them when I want. I probably will put Velcro ties, but all my cables are just running down one side to this leg here and off the power brick. And as I say, I've got a USB going here to this switch box, and I can switch it to PC if I want. The pedal mount, you can see how it's mounted there, and you can angle it up and down and stuff. Oh god, it needs a hoover around it already. All very simple to put together, this part. I'm not going to go in depth about the actual pedals and steering wheel. I'll do that another time. I have put on casters, so it comes with feet that you screw in, which is fine and all, but because I know I'll be moving this around, I bought these lockable casters. Really good. You got to find ones that you know, support a decent amount of weight, especially if you're like me. But yeah, these casters are great. And A little close up of here. When you open it up, you get a few of these brackets. So that basically goes one on top, one on bottom. That's how that screws in. The gear shifter mount, I've got it all fairly loose, but it's quite straightforward how that goes. I will say on the inside, I'm just going to roughly point it in now, I can't really see what I'm looking at. You can see something goes on the inside there, and yeah, that this screws through onto it, and yeah, a lot of adjustability here, so you can move it, you know, to front and back, outwards, up and down. But as I say, it's just for that for now. The seat goes on pretty easy, to be honest. That's all straightforward. You put this this square thing attaches to the runners, and that attaches to here. That was probably the most awkward bit, just getting to a couple of the bolts, but not really a problem at all, and getting the seat together. So when the seat arrives, it's in two pieces. You've got to attach this to this with a couple of bolts in there, and put this bit together. So yeah, the seat is quite nice. It's like a fake leather finish, which is could be a bit sweaty in summer, but good for wiping down. Now I wonder if I can demonstrate what I mean. So if I pull on this bit, it's solid. Well, I mean fairly solid, there's still some flex, but this side is more, because this system is holding it rigid here wherever it's locked in place, and this is just free moving, which I think that's how it works on a lot of actual cars, but maybe they're just done in a better way. I don't know. That's the only thing really on the hard braking. I mean, if you haven't got pedals like these load cell pedals, then you're probably not going to brake hard enough, and of course you can always just have a lower strength bumpers in, etc. Yeah, so there's not too much to say about it. That's just the look of it. It looks pretty decent. Size wise, well, I'll pop the dimensions up on screen, but you can see I just overlap the front a little bit with my pedals. I'm about 5'10", so I've got a little overlap there on the front, and obviously the seat comes off over the back, but not too much. And width wise, it really is just as wide as the seat. Of course, you don't really need the shifter mount. There is no shifter available at the moment for the G Pro, but if you're using anything else and you've got the shifter, then you've just got that extra little bit of width to concern yourself with. But yeah, it's actually pretty decent cockpit. I'm very happy with it. It just looks very sleek, very tidy, very nice setup, to be honest with you. I'll do a video another point about this wheel and pedals, but yeah, they're pretty good. And the key factor being, if you can get hold of a student discount code, you can get it for 25% off, which is quite a big, you know, 250 quid off. Pretty decent, to be honest with you. But yeah, that'll do it for now. Any questions or comments, drop them below. I always try to answer, but otherwise that'll do it. And he will catch you later. Cheers.